When we talk about officers showing bravery by moving towards the threat, today's video is exactly what we're talking about. Hi everyone, welcome to today's research-informed badge cam lesson here at Active Self-Protection. I'm your host, John Correa.
I'm your co-host, Mike Williver. Today's video comes to us from the Mile High City, in more ways than one, Denver, Colorado.
Lucky Gunner is my recommended trusted provider of freedom seeds for range or defensive use. In stock, good prices, and rocket-fast shipping are why I go back again and again. Because of new guidelines, I can't link their site or say it, but you're smart and you can find it with a simple Google search. Stick it to the man by paying them a visit today.
If you go read the news stories that I've linked in the description, you will see here that officers are responding because a man has gone into this convenience store, tried to buy a pack of cigarettes. His credit declined. And so then he told them, well, I just want to buy one cigarette. They can't sell him a single cigarette. They don't have the capacity. So he draws a gun, starts threatening everybody with it, tells them to lock the doors, and somebody calls 911. That milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. We have multiple badge cams of what happened. Let's listen in.
Move! Move! Get away!
I need a key! Get back!
Where's the key?
Inside the key! Door down.
Where's he at? Where's he at?
He's in there.
No shots fired.
No, yeah, there was a shot fired.
Hey, firm, shots fired.
Take this fucking thing down.
Go!
Go! Hey, be careful! Be careful!
Watch me! Watch me! Hands up! Where's he at? Where's he at? I'm holding it! Drop the gun! Where's he at? Where's he at? Come here! He's in the counter! That's the cover! Hold down! Where's he at? Corner right corner! Push! On me! Right corner! One, two, three, back up! I'll be back. Who's still shooting? Cuff him up!
Buddy, hang in there, all right? Hang in there, all right, buddy?
Who's got gloves? Throw gloves on.
We're gonna get you help, all right?
He's in everywhere. Where you hit?
Get him recovered.
No, yeah, there was a shot fired. Kick this fucking thing down.
Go!
Hey, be careful! Hey, hold your rifle long.
Push it open!
Brian!
Push the fucking door open!
Drop the fucking gun! Drop the gun! Where's he at? Where is he? Hey, get behind cover! Hey, get six!
Right corner! Push! On me!
Wait.
One, two, three, back up! I'll be back.
Cuff him up!
Push it open! Fucking Brian! Yo!
Push the fucking door open!
Where is he? is going to be towards the east. Right corner. Shots fired. Officer involved shooting. Suspect is down. Get out! Get out!
I'm sorry, EMS code 10. Where's you guys want to know?
Here.
I need medical. Get medical here. Check.
Come here. I need you to sit down, okay? Let's go take a seat.
He's over there. Do I have any officers here? What's up, man?
Brian, push the fucking door open. Go. Move. Where is he?
I'm fired.
Where is he?
Modifier is going to be towards the east.
Where?
Modifier towards the east.
Black horn.
Ah!
I'm fucking hit.
Go fire. Officer involved shooting.
4-2, I'm hit.
I'm sorry, EMS code 10. Where did you guys want to know? We're going to need medical. Get medical here. Check. Do I have any officers here?
4-2, I'm hit. Tourniquet applied.
Our perpetrator did not make it. He took the dairy aisle temperature challenge. Unfortunately, you saw that one of the clerks was hit by a bullet fragment from police. She'll make a full recovery. And one of the officers was shot by the perp and in the leg. And thankfully, it looks like he will make a full recovery as well. Hey, Mike, can we say that both these cops are, amazing for moving in towards the threat? And also, we have a few thoughts on some tactics and techniques and procedures.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this is, hopefully post Uvalde, this is what cops do when there's a dangerous situation. They don't wait around. They don't put hand sanitizer on. They go towards the threat. Doesn't mean we can't learn lessons. And I think these guys did an after action of their own and probably noted all the same things that we're going to talk about today.
Whole lot of bravery in this one, Mike. And I want to start with that these guys show up to a humongous problem. They got to figure out who's who in the zoo and sort through the chaos. And I think these officers did a really good job of an awful lot of that. Now, I'm going to say too, though, when somebody finally breaches the glass here on this door, if I'm going to be the first guy through that, I want to ask one of these other guys, hey man, cover me going through here because I'm at a real disadvantage when I'm walking through this glass.
Yeah, I do want to address that as well. But first, I want to reiterate what John said about, look, when you hear us saying words in this video, understand that our number one sentiment here is good job getting in there and handling business. It takes bravery. We've seen, unfortunately, in some places, police don't get after it when they should get after it and protect life, protects citizens in their jurisdiction. So that's the overarching theme here I want you to understand. The things we're going to say from here on out that seem critical, we just want other cops to learn from, what these guys did. Yes, I would like to have somebody maybe break that window next to it. And before I even start going through it, get a long gun in there, something to cover off on me so my cheese is not hanging out in the wind, as it were, as I make entry. So that's an excellent tactical point, John.
Well, and we do have at least one officer who has his patrol rifle out here. Did the rest of them have patrol rifles? I don't know. But I'll tell you, if I am going into a situation where I know I have a barricaded hostage situation like we have here, I would absolutely prefer to have a long gun than the best pistol known to man. I think that it is far easier to get good hits with the long gun, whether that's a shotgun or a carbine. And I don't want to have that argument today. Okay. I think a properly loaded shotgun is an absolute fight stopper. You know, if you get good flight control buckshot in there, really, really useful. But carbine, long gun, some kind, great, much better than a pistol. A pistol will work. You can see that these guys did work it. I just want somebody to cover my butt in case this guy decides to start having a gunfight with us while I'm trying to step through in this really odd situation. Now, once you get inside, these officers got to figure out, again, who's who in the zoo, right? Who is what? And I think here is another good reminder of why officers want to have a pistol-mounted light. I totally understand why he wants to have two hands on the pistol right now, because he thinks shooting is imminent, and it is. And so having a very good bright light to figure out who are these people and what is going on, I think is important. Now, some people are going to argue, Mike, that wait a minute, he's pointing a gun at somebody who doesn't need to be shot. And that's not invalid as a concern. But I think given the totality of the circumstances, this is why a good long throw, bright white light on a police officer's pistol is an important tool.
Just like anything else, I think a reasonable person could look at a gun mounted light or handheld light and be like, pretty straightforward. It's a light. I turn it on. It illuminates things, right? Not so fast. When it comes to law enforcement, gun-mounted lights, and handheld lights, training is required. You got to train with this stuff. It's not intuitive how to activate a light while keeping a full firing grip on your gun. It's something you have to practice. And I think most agencies probably neglect low light shooting. This is exactly why, look, most crimes happen in hours of darkness. That's just a fact. It's been that way for all of mankind, right? Bad guys like the dark. Therefore, your light's of paramount importance, and knowing how to use it, knowing how to manipulate it, knowing when to transition from a handheld to a gun-mounted light, knowing when to use spill versus the actual beam of the flashlight, whether gun-mounted or not, is all critically important. If you don't practice that stuff enough, if you don't get out there every quarter and do a little bit of low-light shooting, that's a perishable skill. You got to keep up with that as well.
And I really think here what you're seeing is, watch the officer here. He turned the light off. He turns it on. They're going to play a little bit of Ring Around the Rosie with the condiment, table there in the middle, trying to figure out who's going on. And this is a huge problem, right? Not that they did it wrong here, but trying to figure out where am I going and what. And one of the things you want to notice is that the officer is starting to futz around with his pistol-mounted light a little bit. You see him turn it on there and then turn it off and then turn it off in this case. Now he's going to kind of futz around some more. And this evidences to me that he is not really confident with his use of the pistol-mounted light. And it does take training, whether you are using, your support side thumb and doing a momentary on, whether you're using, and in these guns, I think an officer, the right answers are something like a Surefire X300, a U-boat, or a Streamlight TLR1 HL, or, a mod light, pistol-mounted light, a Cloud Defensive, something like that, really high quality light that's going in there. Please, guys, upgrade on duty lights. I don't recommend, I know some people like O-lights. I just think they're not up to the quality standard yet that a pistol mounted light needs to be for duty use. But recognize you better be able to use it, because if you don't know it intuitively and you haven't used it enough where you're not thinking about activating it, because when you're thinking about the light, you're not thinking about the threat. And that's a big problem, Mike.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I covered that in my last little hit to camera there. Training is paramount, obviously. It is one of those things. I'll reiterate one thing that I think people think, it's a light. What's there to know? I turn it on, I turn it off, right? The other thing I think is important here is there's this idea in some training circles that I always want to use momentary on. I don't want to leave my light on because that tells the bad guy that I'm coming down the hallway or around the corner or whatever. I don't care if the bad guy knows I'm coming down the hallway around the corner, because if he's looking at my light and where I'm going, guess what he's not doing? He's not focusing on more victims. He's not focusing on shooting or injuring the innocent third parties that you're there to protect. So yeah, sometimes it's okay to draw fire away from third parties who are unarmed and unable to defend themselves. So this momentary on thing, that's fine, I guess, if you're clearing a building with no victims in it. But I think just leaving the light on in most situations is your best bet, for the reason that you're not having to think about it. You're not having to go, wait, am I on now? Am I off now? Am I drawing fire towards myself or not? Just leave the light on in most situations and you'll be okay.
Yeah. And listen, that's a little technique thing. Okay. A little tactic thing. But I do love that these officers are hunters, not rabbits. They're not waiting for this guy. They are moving in and pushing the action on their terms. I also love that this officer here, notice he's hugging the right side. Notice he's down by the side of the case instead of hugging up close to the aisles. And that gives him a better angle here. So he has correctly assessed what angle will help me see around this side, see around these aisles. and has taken that correct angle. That does generally require some training as well. And when you encounter that threat, hey, now it's time for a gunfight. You heard the bad guy's gunfire. You better be better with your handgun. Here's where you got to rely on your training, and it has to be enough for you to know I'm better than this guy and I'm going to win this fight. And that confidence needs to come, Mike, from competence.
Competence, yeah, confidence and competence. Yes, if you are competent, I'll tell you a story. I took a 2-week NRA pistol shotgun class one time, and this is to John's point. I don't remember how many rounds we fired. It was probably over 1,000 rounds in the 2-week course, and just maybe 2,000. It was a ton of rounds. And I'm remarking to my wife, I don't ever want to get into a gunfight. I don't ever want to have to use my firearm. But if I do have to use it, I'm the most confident I've ever been right this minute. And that came from what? It came from training. It came from being confident in my pistol and my shotgun, because I shot the heck out of them over the previous 2 weeks. And the fact that I know I can't miss right now. That's how sharp I am, how good my marksmanship is right now, is I can't miss. And so if I'm presented with a shooting problem like we see here with this very small target popping out from behind the Mr. Pibb, I know that I can make that shot if I need to. And, this officer seems to me that he was pretty confident he could make that shot. Rest in peace to the Dr. Thunder there on the end of the soda rock, unfortunately.
All right. A little bit of show of hands. Who had to drink Dr. Thunder because they were the poor folks? I mean, hey, we drank a lot of it when I was a kid. Now, next thing here, our officer comes to participate in the handcuffing, and I want you to recognize that he is about to butthole check our perpetrator here, and this is a bad idea. If you feel like you still need to have your gun in hand, then step back and be the cover officer. If you feel like you want to help with the handcuffing, put that gun in the big 5-gallon bucket on your hip. Nothing bad happened from it here. It's totally fine. But this is highly risky, and you are pointing a gun at somebody that doesn't need to be shot, especially if you have a negligent discharge here, because of sympathetic squeeze, interlimb, paracalation, words. Then you're going to be held personally liable for that and shoot somebody who shouldn't have to. So one or the other, huh, Mike?
Yeah, and I would say this, if your agency, if you're watching this and you're in law enforcement, or your training staff, if your agency isn't training drills where you shoot live fire and then you have to address, say, a training dummy, like a cuffing dummy or something, and have other officers or deputies or agents coming in and actually doing all the things you would do post-shooting, that's something that you should be practicing probably at least every other quarter, twice a year, to where you get to the point where guy with a long gun is involved in the shooting and has to make a decision in real time in a real environment. Hey, should I get involved in handcuffing? Do I need to? Is there enough other people who don't have long guns on? Or is it just me and one other person? The bad guy's down. So now, okay, I need to holster, basically, make safe and move my long gun around to the back and then get hands on. Those are things you have to train as well. If you don't train them, they're not intuitive. They won't just come to you in the moment.
Yep. Now, I wanted to notice our next officer here as we come in through him, does a pretty good job looking around his corners and trying to look for work. But that said, he fires 11 rounds and then immediately starts a reload here. I'm a little worried about this one, Mike, because what it looks like to me is he's not thinking with a gun in his hand. He's just reacting. He's okay, I shot, so my next task is. And that feels like a real scar on his soul from flat range training, that I shoot and then I do attack reload, or, he didn't at least retain it here. He just let it go. And my guess is, I don't know, he fired one-handed and that he thinks that maybe his gun is empty here, but he doesn't have a lull in the fight to do attack reload here. And so I think he's reacting here rather than thinking.
Yeah, so attack reloads are important. It's something we should train for. However, if you're doing them all the time in training, a training scar is a real thing, muscle memory, whatever you want to call it. It's a real thing. If you do something over and over and over in training, they say perfect practice, right? You get perfection out of that, not just practice. You got to practice the right things. If you're training something over and over and over every quarter in training, like this tack reload, that you're going to do that. There's a very good chance you're going to do that without thinking about it. It's just going to happen because that's what you've trained to do over and over again in your mind and at the range. I think the important thing here is to understand that you are in a gunfight and you need to be reacting to what's presented to you, what's in front of you in the moment. I don't think there was a really good need for him to reload here. And John, you remember not long ago, we did a deputy out of either Riverside or San Bernardino County who got a real bad guy going into a Circle K, And it was in the middle of attack reload when the guy reappeared. He started hunting the deputy, and that's not likely here, but it's not impossible. So I think that's probably a good reference point for what we're talking about right here.
Yeah, reload when there's a lull in the fight unless your gun is empty, and his is not. You can see there's actually a round coming out of the chamber, so he goes to run the action to cycle the slide, and he sends a live round off into the wild blue yonder. Well, you put a new mag in the gun because you wanted more rounds available, and then you just immediately jettisoned one. That's not a great idea. But I also still think this is what this looks like to me from a human performance factor. He's not responding to stimulus around him. He is simply operating on rote memory, because what you're going to see here in a minute is, again, he has put a new magazine in the gun, run the action, and then he is going to literally immediately bring the gun back up into his line of sight and fire. And I want you to ask, as he does that, what is the stimulus here? What stimulus is he using? And I don't see anything in the bad guy, because he is literally, you can see, face down, facing away from our officer. So his stimulus was several seconds ago when he initiated the reload. So that's what he's thinking about. So he is now eyes down on the gun, which he should be, and then has made the decision, tap, rack, bang. Rather than, if I have to do anything to the gun, reassess. And I think this is a training scar here, Mike, that when we go, oh, wait a minute, fix your gun, get back in the fight and fire more rounds, rather than see through your sights, assess what's going on, and respond accordingly.
I almost think sometimes, John, that agencies should have like 4 different qual courses, and we do one every quarter. We rotate them out so that we're not doing these repetitive things over and over again. I think there's a way to mix up the training and the qualification is not training, right? Qualification is a test. It's a demonstration of proficiency. But I think even that should be mixed up a little bit, just to prevent this sort of repetitive training scar where you've done a thing in training a million times, and that then translates to you doing it without. I don't mean to say this officer's not thinking or that he's mindlessly, doing things. It's just that this is the way he's trained, and so this is the reaction he's going to have out in the field in a real life situation. Listen, if the situation was different, this round could get you in a lot of trouble. That could be a real problem for you, and I don't want you in trouble. Again, I want to reemphasize, we are very glad these officers showed up that day and did what they did and got in there and saved these third parties from being injured or killed. But this is stuff that can get you hemmed up, no matter how righteous the shoot was initially, no matter how good your intentions were. This is something that could get you in deep doo-doo, criminally and civilly, and I don't want to see brave officers who are trying to do the right thing end up hemmed up at the end of the day because of a training scar.
Well, and at the end of the day, this guy had taken an awful lot of bullets. So, the worst thing you're looking at here is the desecration of a corpse, quite honestly. And this guy put the quarter in the jukebox. He gets to dance to the tune. I got no love lost for him. I just don't want to see officers jammed up for this, especially when I'm almost certain, again, he's task saturated and task fixated rather than, looking at what's going on. And when you ask him, why'd you fire the last round? What last round? I wouldn't surprise me if he didn't even know that he did fire the last round here, Mike. Now, this officer goes the other way, and I love the fact that he goes, he's going looking for work, finds it, gets involved in it, is part of the solution. I love that. Commendable A+ work here, sir. Then the second he gets done with it, he gets on his radio. And again, it's a very common thing. But let me point out again, you have at least 4 police officers on scene here. Nobody else is coming to save you. You already know you've got a big problem here. Nothing you're going to say right now is going to bring more officers who will affect the fight. So solve the problem in front of you and only get on the radio when you have something that you need that's not there right now and that they can bring it to you, like maybe an ambulance, something like that. Okay, fine. But right now, I just think he's on the radio way too soon.
Yeah, I think honestly, the way to relieve this is for this to be trained during training scenarios, during advanced firearm training exercises, during scenario training. That you get slapped on the wrist if you get on the radio too soon. Otherwise, how are you going to know when the right time is? The right time is, in my opinion, is after this whole thing needs to be over first. So what I mean by that is, the bad guy's in cuffs. We've cleared the rest of this building. There's no other bad guys in there. We've started to lend aid to the wounded, and then we can get on the radio and go, hey, I need an ambulance. Hey, there's a innocent third party who's caught some spall or been shot or whatever. Send EMS here to our location, yada, yada. Maybe send someone to start unlocking the door so those people can get in. There's a lot of stuff that can be done that dispatch can't help you with. It's just, again, it's one of those things you just do because it's what you've always done, or you've always seen your training officer do, is hop on that radio right away and start asking for stuff that you don't quite need yet. I don't remember exactly what he asked for here, but to John's point, yeah, this is something that ought to be probably part of your training regimen along with everything else.
And I love here that he's still looking for work and that he goes and finds, oh, look, I have a victim here who needs my help. And he goes to help her. He supports her there emotionally. Let me hold your hand. And then she's clearly limping. He starts to see what's going on and then is going to get out. Oh, no, she is shot, and she's shot in her foot. Now, it's a bullet fragment that she's taken in the ankle. And you ask the question, wait a minute, is the tourniquet a right solution here? I think this is an ick amount of blood. Okay, fine. I could see a tourniquet application here in a high stress environment to just go ahead and put the tourniquet on and then deal with the aftermath later. Won't hurt her, won't cut her leg off or anything like that, but it'll stop bleeding for sure. That said, his tourniquet is staged horrifically bad. He is fighting this tourniquet. And I just encourage all of us right now, whether you're an officer, a private citizen, if you carry a tourniquet, and you should have a quality tourniquet. Is it staged correctly? When's the last time you opened it up, put it on somebody else or yourself in an emergency environment, and just reminded yourself how to get that done quickly? It should be staged right. There are videos on how to do that on YouTube. You can look how to stage a tourniquet correctly and then get it on quickly and use it, because when you're futzing around with the tourniquet, if people are bleeding to death, their life is on the line here.
Yeah, we once had a Iraq War vet who got blowed up in an up-armored Humvee. It's one of those crazy plasma charges or whatever that just cut right through the metal. It was terrible, and he was in very rough shape. And he recalled the person coming to put a tourniquet on him, and they disarmed him first before they put the tourniquet on because they knew how bad it was going to hurt. I say all that to say this: I think, to John's point, we need to bring back occasional, and maybe once a week, once a month inspections where a training guy or a lieutenant or someone who knows what they're looking at comes out and looks you over and says, why is your tourniquet like that? Why are your magazines where they are? Wouldn't it be better if we did this or that? Because I think you get used to it. You show up to work and your stuff stays as it is. If you stop checking your equipment, if you get complacent, or if you don't get proper training, stop the bleed and tourniquet application, I think this can happen. And look, again, I want to reiterate, these cops are grade 1 absolute badasses, and they got in there and handled the problem. These are mostly nitpicks. This is not really a nitpick. This is pretty important. I want your tourniquet to be staged properly. I want you to get probably annual recert and stop the bleed and tourniquet application. If you haven't done it for a while, it's probably a perishable skill as well. So to John's point, yeah, I think it's important that we do better with the tourniquets, have them staged properly, because we don't want someone bleeding to death because we're futzing around with it.
Exactly right. So that's what this one is. One final one, and I'm going to camp on this one for a minute and be pretty frustrated. I'm proud of this officer for bringing a long gun to the fight, and he got hit, and I get it that he is now out of the fight. But you notice what he had to do in order to get his tourniquet on, and that is he just drops his patrol rifle and puts it on the ground. Why? Because he didn't take the second when he got out of his patrol cruiser to throw that sling over his neck. What he should have done, if he just slung that freaking carbine, is then it goes on his person and he doesn't have to leave it there for the bad guy or for another private citizen to figure out, or for somebody to go, hey man, there's this gear adrift. Here's a patrol rifle. What are we going to do with it? That's why it has a freaking sling on it. And the fact that you didn't use it means you had to drop it, which an M4, a AR-15 pattern rifle, is not drop safe. So you ran some risk for that. And now it's completely unavailable to you if a threat emerges. You haven't cleared the entire building. You don't know what the hell else is going on in there. And all that for 2 seconds of not using it. And we harp on this so often, Mike. And I don't understand what it's going to take to get through people's head to use their damn sling.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling John Sergeant Sling, because this is really, really an issue. I mean, we see it time and again on the badge cams. Frequently, it doesn't have a result sort of this potentially serious of like leaving an unattended long gun on the ground. That's rough. That's a tough one. It doesn't take 2 seconds. It takes a second. You pop it out, put your hand through it, and sling it. And that's all you got to do. Sling work is one last thing I'll talk about needing to be trained. Working a sling, a 3-point sling or a single point sling, is not intuitive. You need to practice it. Probably every time you qualify with your long gun, you should be doing a little bit of sling training, practicing slinging it behind you, making it safe, using it for, having to be a handcuffed person when you got a long gun. All those things are perishable, need to be trained with some frequency. I know I've said this 45 times already, but I mean it. At the end of the day, these guys got in there and got after it and protected these people from a person who's clearly having a very bad day, threatening them with a gun, Well done to everyone. Big picture, and these guys went in there and covered their ass.